Hey guys, welcome to the Strange Society podcast. My name is Amber Ofso. This is
Joe Mox.
we're from the band Social Strain, and welcome to our podcasts. So, should we start giving them their updates? We have some very exciting news for you guys. So, we just launched our first debut EP called DeTune. It's out now on Spotify, on Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you want it. And we also announced our DeTune tour for 2026, and it's looking pretty full, don't you think?
Yeah, it's looking really good, and I think you will love this EP because it covers a lot of genres, and it has some kick-ass tune in there. So check it out.
Yeah, I think we changed the style a bit up from the previous songs to be more, I think more unique, I would call it. Our EP, Detune, I like to call it like the perfect album for people with ADHD or people with short attention spans, because we put a lot of effort and a lot of work. We worked all year on this EP, and it's really cool because it's very surprising. It changes a lot. It's probably the least predictable EP you've ever seen. Like, if you listen to one of the songs, unless you are a real fan, you've heard it like a lot of times, you do not know what's gonna come next. It keeps surprising, and that's something that I fucking love about our EP. It's very unique, so y'all should go and listen to it for sure. Check out the tour dates if you're interested in seeing us live, and let's get into the podcasts. So this segment that we call Influences of the Month is where we kind of, because our music comes from the influences that we go through, and as most people do, you change your you change you change your influence and your obsession every week, every other week, and that's what makes you you, and that's what makes your sound. So in this part of the podcast, we are I'm getting distracted. There's a cat here. Okay, there's hi Morena. Yeah, no. So in this part of the podcast, we tell you what this month's obsession is for us. And should I let you start or should I do it?
I think I could start.
He wants to start this one. Let's go.
Well, for the influence of this month, I'm gonna talk about a band from England called Silosis. First time I heard them was in, I think, 2008 or something like that. It was when they got their first album or EP out, Conclusion of an Age. And I think it's really amazing band. What I noticed is that they released a video, I think, for a song called Theras, which is a kick-ass song, like really in your face, trashy but modern. Like, I always loved the production. Even it was their first, professional work, and the guitars, they're, something like mwah, chef kiss. And in that video, Josh Middleton, the lead singer, at that time he wasn't the lead singer, he was just the guitarist, was using an ESP Alexi Laiho signature model. And Children of Bodom is my favorite band. So, okay, a guy that is influenced by Children of Bodom, let's see what you got. And it is an amazing band. And they have been kind of, underrated, kind of not. Very, very underrated. Funny thing, the first time I think I saw you, it was in yeah.
And Guilt Trip and Apollo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silosis was opening for Malevolence. Thankfully right now they are, getting more recognition. Josh Middleton was also guitar player for this band, Architects, which is a huge band in the scene, and at some point he took the vocals as well, so he's the lead guitar and singer of the band. But he seems to be a really down-to-earth dude. He has a YouTube channel, and the other day I was watching an hour-long tutorial from him how to properly EQ guitars for metal. And he was dissecting everything, like, you need to do this and, enhance these frequencies and do this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I'm living in the same age that I absolutely adore this guy musically, and he's sharing his knowledge. Like, so really cool. So, I could talk like 3 days about Silosis, but I'm going to leave it here. And if you haven't checked them, check them out. Silosis, really cool band.
Yeah, that's definitely the cool thing about living in this day and age is that your favorite musician, you can actually hear from them themselves. Like back in the day, it was like interviews and journalists spinning shit around and making different stories. And now, if you just go to their channel, for lately, I'm obsessed with Garza podcast. It's a podcast of the guy from Suicide Silence. It's so good. Oh my god, they had Guilt Trip on there the other day. It was like really cool. Yeah, yeah. Stuff like that is just amazing. You can hear from the artists themselves and not like
I remember back in the day when you had to buy the guitar magazine,
I used to buy the Metal Hammer in German because where I lived, I'm from a small village in Belgium. They didn't have like even a Dutch version of it or nor an English version. They only sold for the German one because it was close to the border. So that's how I learned German, reading the Metal Hammer. And sometimes it took forever, but you know the stuff we did when that's how old we are. Like when you
Du hast.
yeah no not Rammstein. No, that was not no. Very good, sehr gut. Je spreekt zeer goed Deutsch. Okay. My influence of the month, well, of a long time, is Malevolence. I love Malevolence. I'm wearing their shirt today. Let me show you guys. Hold the mic. Can you see?
Yep.
Yeah, very proud. Serpent's chokehold right here. I love Malevolence, and that's indeed the gig where we saw each other first time was when Malevolence was headlining and with Guilt Trip and Silas and one more band in Apollo. I think it's like 2 years ago now, something like that.
I think it was Matas or Apollo.
No, it was Apollo. I'm sure Apollo. Yeah, amazing band. And fun fact, the Malevolence artwork was also my inspiration for designing the EP artwork of DeTune. So I was designing the EP for DeTune. I was trying to figure out what style and everything, because you gotta pick a direction here. And I've been so obsessed, specifically with Malicious Intent. I think that is their best artwork so far. I was obsessed with it. And if you look at Malicious Intent and DeTune, you can definitely see that there was inspiration there. Of course, not a copy, but it was heavily inspired by that artwork because I'm obsessed with it.
Is that the album that has Life Sentence that we covered that song?
Yeah, we covered it in a previous set list. Put in the comments if we should cover Life Sentence again, because I think we definitely should, but the band does not 100% agree on that statement. So yeah, really, really cool. And I'm very excited to see them actually. They're coming in 2026. They're coming to Barcelona. I think they're playing Ras again, Malevolence. Yeah. It's a really, really great band.
Also Silas
again? They're together? Not together. I was gonna say.
Is in February.
No, Malevolence is, I don't know, remember when, but it's in Ras. But I think it's in the middle of next year. But yeah, great band. And I think we are also heavily influenced by Malevolence. Like when you listen to our songs, especially the solo of Paper Cuts is super Malevolence influence. If you listen to Higher Place by Malevolence and then you pull up Paper Cuts, which is the first single on our EP, you can see that it's an influence there. Yeah, it's a really great solo though. It's like the solo for Paper Cuts, I think, is the first time that you wrote a solo that is not too complicated, I think, because the solos he writes normally are like some heavy shit. If you listen to the solo in Black Widow or in Karma, I think is the one, they're crazy. And now we switched to a more like adaptable version, which is really cool as well.
I think it's what the song demands, For example, I love. Many people say that Chris Broderick is not a good guitarist. They say that the best guitarist in Megadeth was Marty Friedman and Kiko, and they are really great. But I see a lot of trash being thrown towards Chris Broderick. But I love Endgame, and the concept of the album is like the end game. It's like the final dystopia. Like the Terminators won. Skynet won. So it's really heartless, cold, and it's really technical. For that concept, it's really cool to have like crazy sweep picks and things because it fits the narrative. But when you're talking about another emotion, you need like maybe slower tempo, more melodical lines. So I love all of it if it fits the song. Like the solo must serve the song, not vice versa.
I think the best albums are made when the band works together rather than one having the really crazy need to show off all the skills, because you can have all the skills in the world, but there's no need to show them off either if it doesn't fit in the music, If it fits, well, great to you, but if it doesn't, yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. It's like, teacher, I have a question.
Let's talk about working for the team. I only did one solo in this EP.
That's true. That's true. Meanwhile, I had to do all types of gutturales, tunnel throats, rap, clean singing, the whole fucking shebang, you know. But
Took one for the team.
you took one for the team, yeah, yeah. Maybe next one. All right, let's move on to the next section, which is where you guys send us your questions. If you want us to answer a question, you can comment it down below in our video, or you can send it to us on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you would like. We collect it from everywhere. So the questions that were sent in this time is, first of all, what are your pre-show rituals? What do you do before you have to go on stage, right before?
It's really easy. I don't drink any liquid like 2 hours before because basically I don't want to have the need to pee myself when I'm performing. Like it comes the solo. No solo. Pee time. Sorry for the ones on the first row, you know.
You see that video where Kirk Hammett is like right before he has to go on stage, I gotta pee, and then he finds like a cup and he's pissing in it, and then he goes on stage.
I didn't saw that, but seems like a fun video. Okay, basically no any liquids. I start doing like push-ups and shit like that on the floor, just for get the body warm, jumping jacks, and I also rehearse the first lick of the first song, because sometimes yeah. But some performers, the very first note, sometimes they could, get blank mind, like what I have to do. But if your muscle memory, it's you don't need your brain. You just need to start the machine with the muscles, and then your brain catch up.
I feel like that thing with stage fright where you forget everything. I had it pretty bad when I was a kid, like a teenager. But the more you go on stage, the more you just get over it. For example, in the past few years, it's not happened once to me that I go on stage and I don't know. And even if you I think the best trick to avoid having that blank moment, in my opinion, is to kind of prepare like a backup. Like, for example, we do a lot of culturales and stuff. So I know that if at some point I forget the lyrics, I just, make sure that I do a cultural that's impressive, and I kind of don't pronounce it so well. So you don't really know what I just said, stuff like this.
That's cheating.
But it hasn't happened, but it's nice to have it in mind in case it does happen. You have a backup. It takes the stress away, and that way you don't feel so pressured, and that way you're less likely to forget your actual lyrics. Yeah. For me, at least, it was like that. Wow.
In guitar, for me, it's like muscle memory.
Volume button down. If you don't remember.
No, it's for me, it's muscle memory. Like, honestly, I have done few mistakes live, maybe the early ones, but I just rehearsed the shit out of the songs, and for me, it came to a point that I'm so used to play the parts that I could be thinking about my tax declaration while I'm performing, oh yeah, I have to include my car expenditures and things like that, but the song is on point.
Now we all know what goes on in Joe's head on stage. Taxes.
Yeah.
Definitely
the adult life.
Yeah, don't tell me. So pre-show rituals for me is quite simple. Vocal warm-up, very important. Never skip your warm-up. I also tend to drink a lot of coffee. A, because I like coffee, and B, because coffee without sugar and anything is actually kind of good for gutturales. It helps create a little barrier in your throat before it warms it up before you go sing. So that I always do. And other than that, I also tend to film a lot, because mainly social media content is mainly my job, kind of what I do. So I'm always with my iPhone chasing everybody, smile, come on here for a minute, I need this, So that, and then the rest is just yapping. I'm a big talker, so I'm always oh, she's biting you. Oh my God, Morena. So I'm always yapping to people all the time. It's kind of my ritual. Yeah, you gotta hide. If you're an introvert in the backstage, probably hide. Next one is if you could have written any album of another band, which album would you have written?
Ooh, I haven't thought on that one. But I think I could have brought something probably Injustice for All. Probably because I like this kind of very heavy riff, but they're kind of proggy, I think that album is really aggressive, but also kind of proggy. like and Justice for All, if the had some the song, I mean not the album track, the album title. That track, it's like almost 10 minutes long and had some weird changes, and I think we did that in one of our songs in this EP. It's not that complicated as and Justice for All, but it has its progry, passages. So yeah, I think maybe Unjustice for All, just from the top of my head. What about you?
I think I'm one of those people that listens to everything a bit, as I think most musicians should. I listen to different genres, different subgenres, and everything. And there's like two albums that jump into mind right now. Like either I would have loved to have written Anima by Tool, or Severance by Guilt Trip. Very different, I know, but like I don't know, Severance just has some type of. I know it would be so impressive if I could make that.
With you that you're referring to.
I know.
That's not the answer. Right?
This is what I mean. Like I've been to Belgium for like a few weeks, and I saw a band there. Well, have you not? Like it was a father with his 3 sons. And the youngest was 11 and he was singing. And then there was the other bassist was 14 or something. And the drum was 17. And the dad was on the guitar. And they were playing Tool. And I was like so impressed by this. And then I started listening to Tool all of a sudden. So that's where it came from. But I think it's very interesting and musically very interesting to write an album like that. So for that. And then Severance Guilt Trip is just one of my all-time favorite like hardcore albums. And I love how much energy it has. And I love the pinch harmonics. You know how obsessed I am with my pinch harmonics. So off the top of my head, those 2 albums are my favorites. But if you ask me that question next week, I'll give you a different answer. All right, what's next? What's the craziest thing that you learned from playing sketchy venues or sketchy places? Every band, like sooner or later, has played like a sketchy venue. Especially when you're just starting out, you're gonna play the shit places. That's the reality of it. And yeah, the beat places. And I think was it like a year ago or something, even more, that we played. What is it? The worst? I think in terms of bad venues, we've played in a venue, for example, that didn't have any PA, no system, no stage, no nothing. We've played in a venue that. Where the sound guy didn't even know what in-ears were, and they said we couldn't use in-ears because it would create stage bogs. It was also sort of
Stage box.
stage bogs. A very interesting experience.
BOGS, no BOX.
Stuff like that. So I think we've seen our fair share, but I think sketchy venue, probably the worst one we've ever played was that one venue that didn't even have a PA system. It didn't have a stage. It didn't have the drum was falling on us. I think that was probably the worst venue so far, eh?
It was a horror movie.
Yeah. We should actually make I should have filmed that and put it for you guys so you know what we're talking about. But that was bad. Do you have another one, or do you think the same venue as me?
I think we had another venue where the stage was so tiny that I only had like a square, and at some point I had the wireless thing on my guitar and I say like F it, and I just went down and even get into the mosh with the guitar.
I remember that was a really fun gig. I had like a wall of death. I was crowd surfing multiple times. It was like those days when I was still wearing the plaited skirt on stage, and I was like, "Ooh, she's she's feisty, that one. Almost as feisty as me." No, but that one was actually a pretty fun gig, though, all things considered. But you don't always get the big stage. Sometimes you gotta make do with what you get, and that's how you learn as a musician. Also, never let the venue disrespect you, but also it's good to play different types of places. You learn from it, All right, last question for this podcast. So remember, if you want to send us a question, you can comment it down below on our video or send it to us on Instagram or on TikTok. Don't forget, the last question is, if you could collab with any artist, who would you pick?
Many, but probably Metallica. Especially in this latest tour because of the stage design. They had this giant donut inside of stadiums. So I see myself, like woo, 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 running around with the guitar if it is wireless, which I hope. Like, wee, wee, wee. Probably I will bet myself, like, how many laps can I do in this gig? Like, I'm going to do 10.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. I would have to say, for me, I would love to collab with Otep. I showed you her music once, no, Otep? She's amazing. She's such a good lyricist. She's a poet, she's a very, very good lyrics, and her vocals are insane. Like, if you, I think it's the third song on the EP. It's Thorns. If you listen to the vocals there, I was heavily inspired by Otep also for making that. She's amazing. I would fucking die to work with her. That would be the coolest thing on the planet, I think, for sure. For sure.
Okay, I think we are done with the Q&A, right? Now we have another section which is called Geek Stories. And we're going to share to you geeks that were probably memorable because good or bad reasons. Probably more bad reasons in this section. So do you remember this geek that we had that was an absolute horror? This one that we didn't have PA with the
Potato Union.
with the potato. This is an organization that they screw two geeks with us. So
Every band, they screw
Yeah.
every band. It's horrible. It's like
but yeah, for just diplomatic reasons, we are gonna refer to them Potato Union.
we're not gonna out anyone here. We're just gonna tell.
But boy, that was bad. Do you wanna talk to the people what happened?
Okay, first, let me clarify one thing. So there are these organizations out there that kind of are made to have bands work together, to play gigs together. So, for example, one organization has like, let's say, 8 of their own bands, and they organize gigs and they put their 8 bands in these gigs. That's kind of the whole thing. There was an organization like that in the beginning of the year, or 2024, 2025, they asked us to be a member. And the way they sold it was really good. And, we were like, at the time, we were like, okay, extra gigs. We love to play, no problem. It seems all fair, So we joined them together with like 7 or 8 other bands, I think. And the first gig we played with them was a catastrophe, as in the day before, no, midnight, the day of the gig, the night before at midnight, the organizer called our drummer, Jordi. And he went, hey, we don't have a drum for tomorrow. Can you bring yours? Mind you that we were already bringing all the amps for the gig. We were coming by metro, which is a lot of dragging. So we were basically bringing all the gear already except for the drum. So Jordi was like, no, we're already bringing the gear. You have like 4 other bands. Let somebody else bring it. And they go, okay, then we cancel the gig. And Jordi, being the good guy that he is, he's such a good kid. He was like, okay, I'll bring the drum. So Jordi was going to normally come and pick us up by the car. He couldn't now because he had to bring the drum. So we were dragging amplifiers, guitars, and everything on the metro for almost an hour. We get there earlier than the organizer himself got there. We helped set up everything. One of the organizers was completely drunk and stoned. The other one was giving a communist speech on stage. And one of them was kind of normal in between, I guess, helping out. And so you have to imagine that we're 5 bands, I think. We did all the work. We get on stage. We didn't even get to play 20 minutes. They cut us off. Like, no time, next band. And I was so mad about that. Not even an apology, nothing. Just shut up now, go next band. And so that was already the day where we were talking like, we are going to leave this organization because we are not being treated right here. And this was a disaster, And but so at the time I was a little young and I was like, let's give him another chance. Mistakes happen. One more chance, right? So we talked to them. We're like, guys, this was not acceptable for us. And they assured us it's not going to happen again. Yeah. And then we get to the horror gig that we were talking about right now. So it was a gig in Costa Brava, which for us is like a decent drive. And it was a week before the gig. And we're contacting the organizer, asking like if everything was okay, because we sent the rider a month in advance and everything. And we're like, hey, is there going to be a sound table? Because we play por línea, which means through the sound table without amps. And they were like, yeah, no problem. Like, okay, do I need to bring anything? No, just did and that. Okay, right, cool. So then we ask, is there transport or accommodation? Because it's very far. And the guy goes, oh, you don't have a car? And I'm like, well, technically, yes, I guess. So we eventually, made our way there. I walk in, the other band was playing with us. They were a lot younger, they just started, so they're not very experienced in this stuff. They were already setting stuff up. I walk into the place, I look around and I go, where is the PA system? Like no PA system, no boxes, no mic stands, no mic. Absolutely nothing. I'm looking around. I'm like, what is happening? Like, and then I look at the door. The poster was printed wrongly, by the way, also on top of that. And it was because we were supposed to play last, and the other band who was beginning was supposed to play first. And they put the time slots wrong, which like makes it look as if we are first and then them. And the organizer comes in. He was like, "Yeah, we printed it wrong. Can you just play early?" And we're like, "No." Like, no, like you can't do that. That is not respectful. So we ended up keeping the same system. And then I told the organizer, I'm like, man, like there's no mic. Would expect me to a cappella it? Like you know how loud the acoustic drum is? And he was like, yeah, I'll fix it. And he calls random people and he comes with. No, wait, it gets worse. He comes with 2 mics and 2 mic stands without the head. So basically just a stick, We ended up duct taping the mics to the stick to kind of hold it up like this, right? And then he brings to the stand, sorry, yes. And then he brings like this tiny, not even 25-watt little speaker for the voice. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, dude, you're using an acoustic drum in a smaller sala, which has a lot of, like bouncing of the sound. You're never gonna hear it with this tiny thing. And he's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Blah blah. Okay. We try. Obviously, you cannot hear anything. So that was like, okay, yeah. And then he was like, what if you lower the sound of the amps? And we're like, it doesn't make a difference. There's an acoustic drum, So this finally sunk in. And then we were talking about leaving, because, that is disrespect point number 2. And it's very, But then we remember we came all this way. If we leave, we don't get paid, which is also reality. And the owners of the sala, we would screw them over and they didn't do anything wrong to us, Plus the fans. We had some people come all the way to Costa Brava to see us. And it would be really, not be cool. If whether it's 5 or 50 fans, it's not cool to leave them if they came. So we had to play. We were like, okay, we're not going to disappoint them. We're going to do it. And so this guy, now I'm going to let you. So this guy saved the gig. You want to tell him how you fixed it?
Basically, I used the monitors of the restaurant.
The big speakers on the teams.
Yeah, the ones for just play music. We found a mini mixer and we found a way to make a route on the routing. Yeah, and we, at least had some PA for the voice. Just one mic. I couldn't do, the backing vocals. And the funny thing is that when we were playing, the drums were failing off the stage.
Falling off the stage. Like
yeah, falling all the time. I had to play like this and with my feet, stop the bass drum to go to hell, and it was like a really, really shitty gig.
Yeah, I remember
You know what was the highlight of that gig? Just then go to the beach and swim.
Costa Brava is so beautiful. Like it had like a really cool beach. But you remember because at that time I was still playing the bass and he was playing the guitar and the stage was behind us and only the drum fit on the stage. So we were standing in front. I remember playing the bass and singing at the same time, not being able to hear myself because obviously that was not going to be an option of using in-ears or stuff. And the drum falls and I'm like playing and I feel the drum in my back and I'm like, oh, like this. And I see him bonking the shoulder and I'm like kind of bonking my butt against the drum to hold it back with the mic here. That was like, I think it was almost acrobatics. I think we were almost in the circus, I think. But yeah. And then the joke of it all was like after this show, we collected our pay. We said thank you for coming to the fans because they really made that gig fun, that they joined in on it at least. And then the day after or something, we sent a very polite message to the guys from the organization saying that we are leaving for these obvious reasons. It was very polite, very structured, very logical, And they just left us on red. And they didn't even reply, not even a sorry, not a,
Gusted us.
Very impolite. And the week after, I went to another event that they organized because, a band of friends of mine are still there, so I wanted to see them. And I go there, and this guy just blindly ignores me, like as if I'm the worst person in the world. And I'm like, all this disrespect after all the shit we did for you, And let that be a lesson to everyone, is the reason why you always check people, like do a full background check if you have to before joining anything and before saying yes to anything, especially as a musician, because there are people out there who don't respect you, who don't respect your time, and who will take advantage of you whenever you can, because for promoting their gigs, we are all good, but then respecting us and treating us right, they definitely did not do. So to other musicians out there, be warned, But all things considered, I think we learned from this experience. We had a good time in Costa Brava swimming. Him and the drummer were in their underwear, so.
What?
You guys are swimming in your underwear, remember? With the dog.
I didn't bring anything else. What should I use?
No, it was funny. We had a good time on the beach, and then
Jordi was thinking about it, and I saw his body language, and I was like, ah, I'm going first. And then, since I entered the water, Jordi said, okay, he make up his mind. And this cowardly girl here didn't do shit.
Let's just say I was not wearing the appropriate attire to be able to swim without my clothes. Okay, let's keep it on that. There's limits to this shit.
Excuses.
Yeah, bad excuse. Next time I'll bring like a bathing suit or something, whatever you like. No problem. I got it next time. But yeah, that's a crazy story. On that note, let's move to our next segment, which is story time. For those who are like watching this and falling asleep, now's the time. Let's talk about the first song on our EP, Our Little Baby, Our Darling. It's called Paper Cuts. Again, check it out on all platforms. It's available.
Links below.
Link below. And Paper Cuts is the first one on the EP, mainly because we all played like the full EP, the mixes and the master eventually to our friends and family. And for some reason, everybody like's favorite was Paper Cuts. It's like magic or something. Everybody was like, "Oh, so good, so good." I think it's definitely our most like metalcore song, because the other songs are like hardcore and a little proggy sometimes, but deathcore sometimes too. Yeah. But Paper Cuts is really, really metalcore for sure. And I remember one of the cool things about this song is that it has like so many challenges in the studio, but it turned out so great. You know what I mean? Like, for example, from my side, Paper Cuts is a really rap song. So I needed to be really on tempo. It's quite fast. So really on each click had to be right. And I was recording it. And I have this nasty habit of when I'm singing, I have to be on the beat, I tap my foot like boom, boom, boom. And I was doing that. And it drove Danny, our producer, crazy. Because every time I tapped, you would hear it a little bit in the mic. Even if I tapped very softly, you could hear it. So he got so tired of it. He went downstairs to the sala, picked up a giant rock, put the rock down. I was like, okay, because then you don't hear the stamps. He had to put a rock in his studio just for me. I was like, lol. I think that's also the only song on the EP where you actually do backing vocals on the recording, right? No?
No, I also have a bit in Thorns.
Ah, you're right.
But in this one, we came up with the idea that I do some backing vocals on the harsh vocals, and also harmony on the chorus. So now I'm not gonna tell anything else. So you have to, go and check it out. But it was really cool. I mean, it was a. I think that the really nice thing about this EP overall is that we were like really open-minded to have different creative approach. For example, in this song we had first time in the band a wah-wah pedal, but I think we use it in a really creative way. You will hear it in the, I think it's in the bridges on the verses of the song. And we were also talking about this melodic passage. Like the solo is more like complementary to the song rather than look at my skills. So yeah, I think for some reason this song, I'm not gonna say it is my favorite because the 4 tracks of the EP are amazing, but this has a special place in my heart. Also, it was fun at the very end when we were finishing the recording and the track that Jordi, our drummer, he did like a final part where we have it before, but he also make a variation where he adds a blast beat, and it ended up being on the final track. It's pretty cool.
He was so proud of it. Yeah, he forgot to tell us actually. We walked in, we're like doing the final stuff, and we're listening to it, and I'm like, is that a blast beat? I don't remember there being a blast beat. They're looking at each other like this. And the producer, he goes, yeah, we recorded it both ways, so the regular way and the blast beat. But it was kind of like a little Easter egg from Jordi, like, surprise, Good surprise, though, good surprise. I also love that we walked into the studio for Paper Cut specifically. We wanted like a special effect on the guitar. And Danny had a wall, like a huge wall full of different types of effect pedals. We tried them all, which took hours. Remember the first day, hours? And what do we end up choosing? The freaking Kirk Hammett signature wah pedal that he already had at home. but, but we also used the other, but that was the main one we used for the effect in the end. Like poor Danny, like we came in there testing it all and just like take the standard one. Sometimes like your first idea is the best, you know? And let's keep with that. All right. Next thing we're talking about today is personal. We're gonna get them personal over here. Would you like to start, or should I take this one?
Well, I could start. Well, something personal about me will be that I am really into guitar building or lutherie, which for those who don't know what lutherie means is the craftsmanship of musical instruments. But I am, specifically, into guitars because I have no clue how the hell they do a piano or a drum or something like that. Yeah, bass is kind of similar to guitars. So, I could watch, I have been caught, watching 4 hours YouTube documentary from they just took just a plain maple, not treat in any way, just like a piece of maple, and how they turn that into the body of a guitar, how they put the neck, and the selection of woods, and how you apply the hardware, the fretwork, the electronics, the shielding, I don't know. I think it's amazing. I think it's for me. I know I'm a fanatic, but for me, Les Pauls are the greatest invention of mankind, more than the moon landing or the string theory or Newton's gravity discovery. For me, because guitar are like this place where engineering, art, music, everything blends. So yeah, I'm really into that. So I hope that one day I could have like my own guitars handmade by me, but who knows?
So yeah, he knows everything on guitars there is to know. He even fixed my LTD. The model is
LTD EC 256.
That's the guitar I own. All right. As for me, I think the most interesting thing to know about me, or one of them, is that I really like to travel. I really like to go to unconventional places if I can. And I have this thing where every time I travel, I need to find the local scene. Like I cannot leave a place without finding and talking to local people, find the local scene, joining some jam or karaoke, whatever I can find. For example, when I went to Tromsø a year ago now, I think, which is it's Arctic Norway, it's the North Pole, and it's a very, very small town. Like 5 minutes, you walk from one side to the other. It's that like really, really tiny, and yet they have 2 metal bars, which is fucking great. And I went there for 5 days, walked into a metal bar, and they had a jam session going on. And I just like crawled onto that stage, played the bass with them, had a good time, and it was all good. So that was like one of my favorite memories of traveling. And then another time I went to Japan. And it was Kyoto specifically. We were traveling through Japan, get to Kyoto. And I was looking for the local scene. And we go to one metal bar that's like on Google Maps. And the owners there are like, the whole bar is full of foreigners, of tourists. And I asked the owner, the Japanese, I'm like, where can I find the locals? And this guy goes, yeah, there's this one bar, So we go. And in Japan, the weird thing is that all bars are like literally like apartments. Like there's an elevator in an apartment block, and one of the doors is actually a bar. So we go there. Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, but we did it. We go there, we find this bar, which is like one room only. Nobody there except us and the bartender, because it was early. And bartender didn't speak English. We didn't speak Japanese, so it was kind of funky. And I just look at him and I go, karaoke? And I was like, karaoke! And he pulls out the mics, and we're like singing. And then the local Japanese people who go there a lot, they came in, and we're singing karaoke. And they want to join in, and we're singing like 1 or 2 songs in English. And then I was like, this is unfair, like they don't really speak English. We're making them sing English all the time. It's not cool. So I said, you know what? Let's do a Japanese metal song. Let's do a Japanese sing one together. And they're like, and the guy looks at me and is like, no subtitle. We don't have. And I'm like, don't worry. So we put X Japan on, which is one of the only Japanese metal bands that sings in Japanese that I actually listen to. X Japan, Kurenai.
Have Big Galnerius.
I didn't. Put on X Japan. And I did my best to sing in Japanese. It was with them, and every single time I got like any sound right, the whole room was like, oh, like super excited. It was so much fun. Like I just love to travel, and I love finding the local scene. If you guys have some tips for me where I should go next and where I can find the scene, put them in the comments or send them to me on private. I do not care. I just want this information. If you guys want to see my travels, I have an Instagram account called While She Travels, because I like while she sleeps, while she travels. You can see some of my travels there. I post like every once in a while. But yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing about me. I think my next travel will probably be either Nepal or Romania, because Nepal has a huge hardcore scene. It's incredible. I saw some videos the other day. I was like, whoa, I gotta join that in. The hardcore scene in Kathmandu is next level apparently. And Romania, I just want to go because they have like the world's biggest brown bear reservoir, and you can like go and walk there. Like Alex the Terrible, but without hugging them, just observing them in their habitat. Don't touch them, But it's really fascinating. It's so cool. And Dracula's castle, obviously, gotta go there. All right, I think I've wondered. I can go on hours about travel, but maybe I shan't. Let's give the mic to Joe so he can talk about his favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah, but before we continue into that, I want to go to the North Pole and say that I am from Argentina and say I came from the other pole.
Oh my God, they'll shoot you. They'll be like, "Who is this guy talking?" The closest island you can get to from actually being the North Pole is called Svalbard. It's so beautiful. I've had my eye on it for ages, but it's quite difficult because you can't even go for a walk there without a guide because there's polar bears that can kill you. They're everywhere. So you need to go with a guide and you need to go with a gun at all times. So you're not allowed to shoot a polar bear, obviously not. But if they attack you, you need to have a weapon. So it's quite difficult and quite expensive. But it's all my high on my priority list. Svalbard, amazing, so beautiful, hands down. Anyway, I'm gonna pass the mic to Joe so he can talk about his favorite part of the podcast, the gear talk.
So today on Gear Talk, we are going to talk about the importance of choosing the right pickups for your music. You can see over there that I have a pair of Fishman pickups. Actually, those are Fishman Modern Classics. I took those out of this one and I put some Modern Fluence. And this very guitar that I'm holding was the one that I used for recording Glitch, which is one of our songs on this EP called.
Too, no? Did you use
No. This one was only for Glitch.
Which pickups Fisherman, no?
Yeah, no, but the thing is that I also use this guitar for the rest of the EP, which is also Les Paul. Yeah, I love Les Pauls, as I told before. And these also are Fishman Fluence pickups. Slightly different because the scale length of this one is a little bit larger, but essentially the same pickups. And it's not that I just stuck with these pickups. I have Gibson with burst buckers. I have Fenders with single coils. But for this album, it sounded so cool. And I think a huge part of the sound of this EP comes from these pickups. I mean, they are very dynamic. They are really aggressive for metal, but they keep the low end really rounded. I hate those distorted guitars that sound like you don't understand what's the low note. Yeah, basically it was a really, sometimes it's a hit and miss, but this was a really cool hit. So if you haven't used Fishman Fluence pickup before, use them. Plus they have like different voicings. You can, for example, this guitar, you pull the knob and you use other voice that came programmed on the pickup, and it's like the active voice is like an EMG active, but if you engage this, it's like a passive piezo, not piezo, but PAF pickup or something. So pretty cool.
Very fascinating stuff. All right, guys, unfortunately, we're getting towards the end of this podcast, or this episode of the podcast. And as always, we're going to leave you with a little metal trivia, a little did you know? And today's fun fact for metal is about Pantera, one of my all-time favorite bands. Did you know that Pantera was actually started as a glam metal band back in the 80s? I know, like the big hair and the high scream and the whole shebang, you know. For those that are curious, they had like 3 albums, I think, that are really truly glam, and they were called, I have to look because I wrote it down, Metal Magic, Projects in the Jungle, and I Am the Night. So look it up to see old school Pantera, 80s glam. First time I heard it, my mouth was like open, like, oh, like, wow, you know, like that is so weird. I'm personally not really into glam metal. I don't particularly like it. So it was really weird for me to see Pantera in that context, you know, like it's like, wow, you know. I feel like when I first saw that scene where the mountain kills Oberyn Tyrell on Game of Thrones, my mouth was like, huh, from shock. Similar to that reaction when I heard the glam, but it's yeah, I like the way they sound nowadays better. I will do from Vulgar Display of Power and onwards. Yeah, better.
I'm not into glam metal either, but I mean the greatest metal glam metal band in history got to be Steel Panther. You know,
I knew it.
Steel Panther is the best.
I knew this one was coming. It's like I don't particularly like glam metal, but Steel Panther is like some other. I saw them live in Grasp Pop Metal meeting like a year or two ago. Holy hell! I've never seen so many. Can I say that word on YouTube? I've never seen so many. Melons in my life. It was so funny. It was like. Melons, yes, no. This is the funny thing. I went to see Steel Panther, and the camera guy was like following all the girls and the boobies, you know. And then at some point, the camera was on a guy, and the guy takes off his pants. You can see his ting-ling-ling, you know. And the whole crowd went from yeah to ah.
Ding ding dong.
Yeah, every time they show boobs, the whole crowd's like woo. And the moment that guy showed his ding ding dong, the whole crowd, you could hear them go ah boo. Talking about preference, right? Jesus, oh my God. But it was a really fun show, actually. I mean, of course, normally people are always like, oh, sexism, blah, blah. But I mean, they're doing it in a joking context. So it's slightly different, I guess, in that way. And they're not actually being perverts.
You know that Motley Crue blocked them in Twitter and everywhere.
Yeah, I think they based their idea of Motley Crue, no? Wasn't it that? Like they based their, mocking of Motley Crue. Like what do you call that? Like a...
Parody. Yeah, parody band, something like that.
A Motley Crue parody.
Like married and, you know.
Yeah, the lead singer has like 2 daughters or something and a wife and everything. So like, of course, in real life, they don't do that stuff. It's just a joke, but...
For being a joke band, they have really, really cool arrangement. And Satchel is an incredible guitar player. When you look at his solo work, and it's funny because you have to keep the lyrics aside, you know, all the funny things they're saying, but hey, that's a heck of a solo, you know.
I think some fun fact about Steel Panther I read in my German version of Metal Hammer years ago. Do you know that there's only one member in the whole band that's like not wearing a wig? It's the singer. Everybody else is wearing a wig. Yeah. When I read that, I was like, no way, what an amazing wig you have. Oh, but yeah, very funny band. All right, guys, we've gotten to the end of our podcasts, very sadly. Don't worry, there will be a new episode next month. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe and follow us on all social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us personally if you want to do that. Comment down below what we should talk about next. If you have a question for us, if you have a tip for me and my travels, also welcome.
But most importantly, listen to EP or EP DeTune, link below.
Very important. Listen to DeTune and let me know what you think of our very first debut EP. See you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.